Thank you for subscribing to our channel. Today is Friday, February 26, 2021. Fox report: Florida restricts some exotic reptiles. St. Petersburg, Florida. AP: pythons, iguanas, monitor lizards. Oh my! Florida is moving to restrict 16 invasive reptile species that have wreaked havoc in the Everglades and across the state. Burmese pythons, in particular, have been especially destructive to native wildlife. Breeding invasive species in Florida is like playing with matches in a tinderbox, said Julie Raithmel, Vice President and Executive Director of Audubon Florida.
Deutsche Welle report: German court jails would-be UK hospital bomber. A court in Berlin sentenced a man who tried to blackmail Britain's National Health Service (NHS) to 3 years in jail on Friday. Judges said Emile A. demanded £10 million (11.5 million euros, $13.9 million) in Bitcoin, or else he would blow up hospitals. The court found the Italian, who lives in Berlin, guilty of attempted extortion. In a string of emails to the NHS and Britain's National Crime Agency, the 33-year-old said he would attack lawmakers and anti-racism protesters taking part in Black Lives Matter rallies.
BBC report: Jamal Khashoggi, U.S. says Saudi prince approved Khashoggi killing. The declassified report released by the Biden administration says the prince approved a plan to either capture or kill the U.S.-based Saudi exile. It is the first time America has publicly named the crown prince, who denies ordering the death. Khashoggi was murdered while visiting the Saudi consulate in Istanbul. He had been known for his criticism of the Saudi authorities. U.S. President Joe Biden is expected to take a firmer line than his predecessor Donald Trump on human rights and the rule of law in Saudi Arabia, a key American ally in the Middle East.
Al Jazeera report: Vaccine hoarding threatens global supply via COVAX. WHO. Countries seeking their own COVID-19 vaccine doses are making deals with drug companies that threaten the supply for the global COVAX program for poor and middle-income countries, the World Health Organization (WHO) said on Friday. Now, some countries are still pursuing deals that will compromise the COVAX supply. Without a doubt, WHO senior advisor Bruce Aylward told a briefing, the WHO has long called upon rich countries to ensure that vaccines are shared equitably.
Deutsche Welle report: German court sections Hamburg synagogue attacker. A German court found on Friday that a 29-year-old cannot be held legally responsible for an apparently anti-Semitic attack on a synagogue last year. While the incident was a targeted attack on a person of Jewish religion, the attacker is suffering from paranoid schizophrenia and was driven by religious delusions, according to the Hamburg-based court. The judges ordered for the Kazakhstan-born German national to be placed in permanent psychiatric care.
CNN report: DHS mandates state and local spending on domestic terrorism prevention. The Department of Homeland Security will require state and local grant recipients to spend funding on domestic violent extremism prevention efforts, the department announced Thursday. For the first time, the department designated combating domestic violent extremism as a national priority area for 2 of its Federal Emergency Management Agency grant programs. FEMA operates several grant programs to assist state and local governments prevent and recover from acts of terrorism and other threats.
BBC report: Japan gender equality minister opposes change on separate spouse surnames. An 1896 law in Japan says married couples must adopt the same surname. Campaigners have long argued that this is discriminatory as most couples end up using the husband's surname. Tamayo Marukawa said her opposition was a personal belief that would not affect her duties, media reports say. My role is to help create an environment where the public can deepen their discussions on the issue, she said in response to a question from an opposition lawmaker this week, according to the Asahi Shimbun newspaper.
Fox report: U.S. airstrike in Syria under Biden and 2017 Tomahawk strikes ordered by Trump. The difference? U.S. Air Force F-15s dropped 7 500-pound, GPS-guided bombs on Iranian proxy fighters in eastern Syria on Thursday night. Tomahawk cruise missiles were not used. They were not needed. The fighters killed were also most likely not even Syrians. The strike was a shot across the bow and warning to Iran, as Fox News' Jennifer Griffin reported last night. the Air Force jets bombed an area that has not been governed by Syrian President Bashar al-Assad's forces since the civil war began.
CNN report. British gymnastics faces legal action over alleged systemic physical and psychological abuse. 17 former British gymnasts, including 3 Olympians, have notified British gymnastics of their intention to take legal action, alleging coaches subjected them to systemic physical and psychological abuse, according to a statement from their law firm Hausfeld. This is a landmark moment in our campaign for justice, Claire Heford, a former elite gymnast and one of the 17 claimants, said in the statement.
Fox report. Massive fire tears through Compton. Compton, Caliph. A huge fire visible across Los Angeles burned stacks of pallets in a commercial yard and buses parked in a neighboring lot early Friday. The inferno erupted in Compton before dawn and created a massive column of smoke that rose high into the sky and spread widely across the metropolitan area. One firefighter had a minor ankle injury, but there were no civilian injuries, said Compton Fire Department Battalion Chief Jim McCombs.
Fox report. China tracks Navy destroyer in Taiwan Strait, accuses U.S. of undermining regional stability. The Chinese military accused the United States of undermining regional peace and stability after the U.S. Navy sailed a destroyer through the Taiwan Strait on Wednesday. Zhang Chunhui, a spokesperson for the Eastern Theater Command of the People's Liberation Army (PLA), said the Chinese military was tracking the USS Curtis Wilbur as it moved through the region. The move artificially creates risk factors in the Taiwan Strait, deliberately undermines regional peace and stability. We are firmly opposed to this, Chunhui said.
CNN report. Shamima Begum, UK teen who joined ISIS, not allowed to return home to fight for citizenship, court rules. The UK Supreme Court ruled Friday that ISIS bride Shamima Begum cannot return to the United Kingdom to appeal the revocation of her UK citizenship. The President of the Supreme Court, Lord Robert Reid, said that the UK Court of Appeal made 4 errors last year when it ruled that Begum should be allowed to return to the UK to carry out her appeal. Begum was 15 years old when in 2015 she left the UK with 2 school friends to join ISIS in Syria.
Deutsche Welle report. COVID mask scandal. Pressure rises on German lawmaker. A senior member of the German parliament, Georg Nusslein, pledged Friday to fight allegations of taking bribes from a face mask producer. The lawmaker also temporarily stepped down from his position as deputy leader of the ruling conservative bloc in the Bundestag. Speaking to DW, Bundestag deputy Dirk Weiss said he was surprised and angered by the scandal. The fact that something like this is possible is quite appalling, said Weiss, who is a member of the center-left Social Democrats.
CNN report. Amazon is putting cameras in its delivery vans and some drivers aren't happy. For Camille Elizabeth, delivering Amazon packages in Wilmington, Delaware feels carefree and comfortable. She has deliveries to make and rules to follow, but says she enjoys being on the road by herself with what she calls a limited freedom. But Elizabeth's work environment is set to change as Amazon announced this month that it has begun to roll out cameras inside its delivery vehicles that monitor both the road and its drivers.
Al Jazeera report. U.S. House poised to pass $1.9 trillion COVID-19 relief bill. The U.S. House of Representatives is poised to approve a $1.9 trillion COVID-19 relief bill on Friday, even as Republicans unify in opposition to the measure backed by President Joe Biden. The legislation, drafted by Democrats, is aimed at resolving the twin crises confronting the United States in the coronavirus pandemic and the economic collapse it has caused. Titled the American Rescue Plan, it is President Biden's top legislative priority within the first 100 days of his presidency and is designed to put the U.S. on a path to economic growth.
Al Jazeera report. Navajo Nation forecasts community immunity, 120,000 jabs given. The Navajo Nation continues its vaccine drive with over 120,000 doses administered on Friday, moving closer to becoming the first area in the United States to give the first jab to its entire population. The Navajo Nation's vaccine campaign, which began in December, set a goal of 100,000 initial doses administered by the end of February, which it surpassed on Thursday this week. Health officials then set a new goal of 120,000 doses, which they surpassed today.
Thank you for watching 5 p.m. recap. To be notified, you can subscribe our channel and activate the bell. you.